A man armed with a steel knife pierced into the desert. When he pierced it 7,752 times, the sand in front of him suddenly collapsed. He excitedly called out to his teammates, "Come quickly, I found it." His teammates heard him and rushed towards the black man. They frantically dug away the sand. Below was a pile of wooden boards. Everyone worked together to remove the wooden boards, and a long-abandoned deep well appeared before their eyes. Everyone was filled with desire. However, when the middleman picked up a stone and threw it into the well, the dull sound of it hitting the bottom instantly made everyone despair. What should we do? Without water, all of us will die of thirst. So, the middleman told the black man to go down and check. The black man climbed down the stone cracks in the well to the bottom, but there was nothing but sand. Just when the black man thought it was over, he suddenly found that the wall on one side was wet. He followed the direction of the moisture and groped forward. Finally, he saw small droplets of water seeping out of the stone cracks. This made the black man extremely happy. He cupped his hands to collect the water droplets, then quickly called to his teammates, "Hey, someone up there, quickly throw down a small can." Then, carefully, he poured the water droplets in his hands into the small can. Finally, he didn't forget to lick it. 4 hours later, the black man finally collected 2 small cans of water. His teammates carefully pulled the cans up. Although there was only enough water for everyone to drink 2 sips, it was enough for them to survive in the desert. The soldiers who drank the water were all beaming. "Oh, it's so sweet. It's as good as my girlfriend. Ha ha." The water problem was temporarily solved. But to get out of this vast Sahara desert, they had to repair the tank buried in the sand. The tank's engine was almost scrapped. Just as the middleman was about to repair it, a Nazi plane suddenly appeared above their heads. Bullets whizzed towards them. Everyone quickly huddled near the tank to take cover. At this moment, the plane turned around and came back, as if it was determined to finish them off. The plane lowered its altitude and flew close to the ground, then strafed them. The American soldiers on the ground dodged around the tank. As the plane got closer and closer to the ground, the middleman seized the opportunity, aimed at the wing of the plane, and fired. The plane immediately emitted black smoke and crashed into the desert. At this moment, a Nazi Kübelwagen drove over from a distance. The middleman ordered his teammates to find cover and ambush, waiting for the enemy to enter the firing range before opening fire. At this moment, the alert Nazi found a string of footprints on the ground, but it was too late. 3 of the 5 Nazi soldiers were instantly killed by machine gun fire. The remaining 2 were quickly surrounded by the middleman and his teammates. Looking at the 2 men's chapped lips, the middleman took out a water cup and took a gulp. "Ah, so refreshing." Then he deliberately poured the remaining water on the ground. This instantly made the Nazi soldiers very thirsty. To find out the location and number of the Nazis, the middleman filled the water cup again and tempted them. The soldier stared at the water bottle, unable to bear it anymore. "Bro, we are an advance team sent to find water. A large army of 1,000 men is just 10 kilometers away. Who are you trying to fool? Don't make things up." "No, brother, 1,000 people are about to die of thirst." The middleman heard this and believed him, then handed him the water. However, at this moment, the water droplets in the well had dried up. The black man climbed out of the well and told his teammates that the water was gone. So, the middleman came up with a plan. He deliberately let these 2 Nazi soldiers go, and then asked them to tell their commander that there was endless water here. If they wanted to get this water, they had to use weapons to exchange for it. As long as the German army believed there was water, they would definitely rush here. At that time, we would ambush them in advance and wipe them out in one fell swoop. Although the middleman and his team only had 9 people, the German army was almost dying of thirst and definitely had no fighting power. Then they began to set up traps, burying anti-tank mines in the sand to form a defense line. The riflemen and snipers found the best sniping positions, while the others carried heavy machine guns. All 9 soldiers were ready for a bloody battle in the desert, quietly waiting for the arrival of the Nazi soldiers. As the middleman expected, the Nazi commander heard that there was water ahead and immediately ordered his troops to advance. They majestically approached the well. With the explosion of the first mine, the middleman and his teammates immediately opened fire. Relying on their advantageous position, they continuously killed the Nazi soldiers who lacked cover. The Nazis suffered heavy casualties and had to retreat in disarray. The middleman counted the number of people, and only one teammate did not respond. The middleman went forward to check and found that his teammate had sacrificed. Just then, the Nazi commander suddenly raised a white flag and walked towards them. The middleman went forward, and the Nazi commander asked to see their highest commander. "Ha, what? Our commander is taking a bath over there." Seeing the scene of bathing in the distance, the Nazi commander, who had not had a drop of water for 10 days, wished he could rush forward and drink his bathwater. But in fact, they were just borrowing a position and pouring the water into another bucket. The purpose was to destroy the will of the Nazi soldiers. At this time, the Nazi commander was still stubborn. "As long as you surrender, I'll give you a way out." The middleman heard him and said, "Ha, no water. Let's see how long you can live, how long you can last." The negotiation broke down. The Nazis, who were almost dying of thirst, launched another attack. They concentrated all their mortars and bombarded the middleman's position. Then they sent a small team to flank them. However, the Nazi soldiers had been dehydrated for a long time and all became terrible at aiming. They couldn't hit anything. The middleman ordered his men to start the tank. The tank fired a shell at the Nazis. After several rounds of heavy firepower confrontation, both sides suffered heavy casualties. The 8-man team now had only 4 left. The Nazi commander once again raised a white flag, requesting a ceasefire. Seeing this, Curly-haired whistled and went up to meet him. Then he drew his dagger and stabbed the other party. He wanted to avenge his fallen comrades. The soldiers saw their commander fall and used their last shells to wildly bombard. 2 comrades unfortunately died from the shell. Now, the middleman's squad had only 2 left. At this time, the Nazi soldiers were swarming forward. The middleman and the other men took their last equipment and prepared to fight to the death with the enemy. Unexpectedly, the Nazi soldiers all raised their guns and surrendered. They listlessly rushed towards the dry well. However, the dry well, which had long been dry, was now filled with water. It turned out that the previous bombardment had blown open an underground current. The 2 middlemen took advantage of them drinking water and collected all the Nazi weapons. In the end, the 2 middlemen captured over 100 Nazis with a dry well. This also allowed the Allied forces on the front line to gather their forces and turn the tide of the battle. The Nazi soldiers, holding a can of water each, squatted on the ground obediently waiting for their fate. Thank you for choosing Movie Messiah 256. Follow, like, comment and subscribe.